debt bondage is a terrible crime, and many victims find themselves trapped in a perpetual cycle of forced labor and coerced debt because of it. Earlier this year, the House Financial Services Committee held a hearing where we focused on the financing of human trafficking. This is an area of bipartisan cooperation on the House Financial Services Committee. I want to commend my Democrat colleagues for leading this discussion and finding time on the committee docket for us to continue the conversation we've had over the last couple of Congresses. From that hearing, we heard from a powerful witness, many powerful witnesses, including Reverend Dr. Marian Hatcher, who is a trafficking survivor. Reverend Dr. Hatcher had the courage to tell us her story. And because of it, we now have legislation that will help others. This is the way Congress is supposed to work. We're supposed to listen from experts and get ideas out of that and how we can construct legislation. Because of Dr. Hatcher, we know a lot more. And Dr. Hatcher, like so many others in this country and around the globe, but in this country in particular, they fell victim to human traffickers. Thankfully, she was able to escape a terrible situation and restore her life. However, she struggled to reestablish herself because of a credit score, which was negatively affecting her whole financial life, but affected loans in particular that she was forced to obtain on behalf of her traffickers. So not only does she have to go through the emotional and social struggles, but she has this that's a weight around her. And this is something where we can legislate and make her life and trafficking survivors like that make their lives better. You see, Madam Speaker, this is where traffickers trap a victim into a debt cycle. Traffickers will take out loans, open businesses, and destroy a victim's credit, which forces them to remain a victim until they pay off the debt. Now, you think this happens in other places around the globe. You think that this is some other country. No, it's here. It's here in our midst, and they're doing it through what seems like legal means. And too often, these victims are never able to get out. This is something that we have to be aware of and focus on. And that's where this bill, the Debt Bondage Repair Act, comes in. This simple 4-page bill has the potential to help thousands of victims every year by ensuring that a consumer reporting agency may not furnish a credit report with adverse information from a severe form of trafficking. While this does not erase the terrible crimes committed against them, it will help victims to regain their financial freedom and begin to rebuild their lives. And I'd like to note that this bill was a very tailored rulemaking provision. We want to fix this problem. We provide the CFPB a window of 180 days for rulemaking. This should be a sufficient time to hear from all the stakeholders here. But it's my hope that they will complete this rulemaking quickly so that the victims can get relief as soon as possible. I'd like to thank the many victims advocates and consumer data industry representatives which provided technical assistance to get this bill where it is. And I would say the difficulty of legislating is that you have to take in folks that are on opposite sides of an issue. Not that they don't care about the same issue, but you have folks that are on one side of a business and those advocates that see things differently, and it takes the time to bring them together to see what is a workable solution. Maybe not a perfect solution, but a workable solution. And I'm proud to submit for the record statements of support from Shared Hope International, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, Reverend Dr. Hatcher herself, and the Consumer Data Industry Association. Additionally, I'd like to thank Polaris for their support of this legislation. This is a great example of what happens when both parties work together. And I want to thank Chairwoman Waters for her help and assistance and her staff, the Financial Service Committee majority Democrat staff, for their help with my staff and the Republican minority staff on the House Financial Services Committee. We have a bipartisan solution to help trafficking victims pick up the pieces and begin a new life. And I'd urge my colleagues to support this bill. I think this will be helpful to the lives at stake, and let them rebuild their lives, not just financially, but rebuild their lives. And with that, ask unanimous consent to insert those letters outlined, a letter from the Consumer Data Industry Association, a letter from Reverend Dr. Miriam Hatcher, a letter from NCSE, and a letter from Shared Hope International.
Without objection.
And I yield back.
The gentleman